Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back in the building. Team No Excuses presents the Ray Lewis Show. This week just called me sugar because of the guests I got on. I mean, if I tell you the guest that's coming up gave me so many sleepless nights. I mean, just so many nights. I just tried to figure things out. But then, man, this person became really great friends. I tell you, to me, probably the greatest quarterback to ever strap up his cleats, man. And I am honored to call him friend. I'm honored to call him brother. And I just have to bring on this guy because the respect that we have for each other is without question. I'm telling you, when you talk about a warrior, you're talking about the great Peyton Manning. Brother, how are you? How are you doing? What's up? I've been waiting to talk to you because I get this question all the time. Are you friends with Peyton Manning?
Man, I'm doing great, Ray. Thanks for having me. I know people ask me always, who's the toughest player to play against, and it's an easy answer. I always say number 52 for the Baltimore Ravens. But I tell people, I don't remember you being so nice to me on the field as you are now. I mean, like, where was that love when you were driving me into the ground, and calling all my plays out? So I guess after football, a lot of things do change, but appreciate you having me on. Obviously, great respect and some great battles over the years. Looking forward to having some fun.
Bro, listen to this, right? I got to ask the most important question I got to ask you, right? When you were a child growing up, if there was any other position you could have played, what would it be?
Golly, probably not much of an option, Ray. Coach, probably. Quarterback or coach. That's probably kind of what I was limited to. With my dad playing, obviously I kind of wanted to be a quarterback. First year I played tackle, actually. Ray, wasn't until the 7th grade, and went out for quarterback. You had to sign up for a defensive position also. So I signed up for safety and quarterback. And I don't think I ever went in on one snap of defense, never been on a special team. So maybe I truly didn't play football, but I did play quarterback. And that was kind of the position I started at, and that's the one I stayed with.
Absolutely, bro. So listen, making the transition, when you jumped into the quarterback position, right? When did you know that Eli and the whole family, because of what Archie done, right? So he branded you guys, right? He gave you the torch. But when did you know this is all I'm doing? This is what I'm going to be great at? When did you know that? Yeah,
it's funny. I hear people say that they knew at a younger age that this is what they were going to do. That wasn't the case for me, Ray. I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like my dad. I had goals. I had dreams. I remember, I get into high school and I'm realizing, wow, I bet it's really hard to go play in college, right? I mean, you got to really work hard. And so I had to have people kind of give me encouragement along the way to tell me that I'd have a chance to keep advancing, right? When I was a junior in high school, started getting some handwritten recruiting letters from Bobby Bowden and saying, wow, maybe I'll be good enough to go play college. And then when I was a junior in college at Tennessee, some NFL scouts were at practice and they were saying, hey, are you thinking of coming out early? So, that kind of told me maybe I'll be good enough to go to the next step. But I needed that kind of affirmation from other people and some encouragement. And then once I got that, obviously I knew I wanted to work hard to try to keep advancing.
In an hour, 40-hour week, whatever work schedule it is, how many hours a week in high school all the way through college do you actually think you worked on to master your craft?
Well, in high school, I'm still a big believer, Ray, of playing multiple sports. I think specializing in just one sport at too young of an age, I'm not sure that's as beneficial. I mean, you see Patrick Mahomes, right? Great baseball player, right? Eli played basketball. I played baseball. So I like playing other sports. Fortunately, on my baseball team, all my wide receivers were my teammates. So we'd go to a baseball game. We'd get back to the school. We'd throw routes. We'd had our cleats on. It was all pretty efficient. So I certainly loved working at it. My sophomore year, Ray, my brother Cooper was my wide receiver. We grew up playing in the backyard. We grew up playing on the Superdome turf after a Saints game. So to finally have a year where we're playing together, we had our own little hand signals, and that was really a fun year playing. So I always enjoyed the preparation part, the work part, you know, in high school, Ray, there really wasn't much film study, right? I mean, you got a student video guy that's just trying to follow the ball. So you're not seeing any defense. So everybody says, oh, Peyton, you were watching film when you were a kid. That's not true. That's a myth. So when I got into college, though, Ray, I realized that I thought I could get an edge with the film study, right? I knew that I couldn't outrun anybody. You know, I wasn't going to be able to throw it 80 yards down the field, but I thought I could kind of out-prepare, if you will. At least that's what I told myself, and that's when that film study really kick-started for me when I got to college.
Yeah, give me that 1 or 2 quarterbacks outside of Papa, because I know Papa led you to the position. But give me that 1, 2 other quarterbacks that you're really fond of coming up.
Yeah, you know, my dad retired in '84, Ray, and that was right when that great class of quarterbacks from the '83 draft were coming in. And so I always think Marino, Elway, Kelly, that's it. And I always think you ought to have a current favorite player, right? Everybody has their all-time favorite player. That's my dad. That's easy. But at the time my dad retired, I'm 8 years old. I need to find somebody else that I want to watch. And Dan Marino was that guy for me, Ray. I like the way he competed. I like the way, you know, he kind of was that ultimate field general. I mean, so competitive out there, great quick release. Didn't get to see him play, you know, every week, you know, because I didn't live in Florida, but every now and then they played the Saints, certainly playoff games, you know, get to see him play, you know, Monday Night Football, just like the way he handled himself out there on the field. And so Marino was kind of my guy.
Absolutely. Who's your current guy now? Who's the guy in the league that when you watch, you say, and it doesn't have to be one person, but who's the 2 guys that you really like?
Yeah, I mentioned him earlier. I really enjoy watching Pat Mahomes play. It's not so great for my Denver Broncos right now, Ray, because you know Mahomes is the bully in the AFC West, and everything kind of everybody has to deal with him. You know, it's nice to be the bully in the division, right? That's the goal. The Ravens were the bully. The Colts used to be the bully. Right now, the Chiefs are the bully, and I like the way Mahomes plays. I like the way that Andy Reid, you know, coaches him hard still, right? He lets him do his thing. He lets him, you know, kind of free, you know, kind of do some things free every now and then. But then you can tell that Andy Reid is really coaching him to go through the reads. He has a lot of fun playing the game. I think that's great. Kind of reminds you of Favre a little bit. He's smiling out there, making these sidearm throws, underhand throws. And so I like him, and I like Josh Allen. I like the way Josh Allen plays. He's competitive. He uses his legs well. And I don't know, there's something good, I think, for the NFL, Ray, that the Buffalo Bills are kind of back, right? I mean, you remember, you know, Jim Kelly, Thurman, Cornelius Bennett, right? That was an awesome era. And, you know, I just have great appreciation for Josh kind of getting the Bills going again. And so it's good for football.
What's the 1 or 2 things that you wish you had back in the day that's allowed the game?
Obviously, the ability to run a little bit and get away from guys like you. As you know, like once you saw that I still had the ball, I wasn't going to be able to go anywhere. You're like, I got a free shot at this guy. You know, these other quarterbacks that can move, you know, Allen, Michael Vick, like, I mean, they're not in one place the whole time. I was pretty much going to be about 6 yards in the pocket right there. I'm just hoping my running back is blocking guys like you. So, you know, but I think because I couldn't run all that well, that's why I watched even more film, right? So I can make quicker decisions, not hold the ball, get the ball out of my hand. I do think I used to frustrate defensive linemen because they were almost there for a sack and the ball was out of my hand. Because I'd studied the film, I knew exactly what my teammates were going to do. And it's a good way to play quarterback because, as you know, these guys on defense, if they get one free shot at you, it could hurt you, it could knock you out of the game. I never wanted to put myself at risk. I wanted to get the ball out of my hand, get it to Reggie Wayne, get it to Marvin Harrison, let those guys do some things down the field.
Bro, do you remember – I'm going to bring up this because it still boils in my stomach right now. Do you remember 1998 when you and Falk came to football?
I do remember that. Johnny U was on the sideline. Jim Harbaugh was your quarterback. Was Marcia Broda the head coach? Ted Marcia Broda, maybe the head coach.
Yes.
Falk took a long run early. You were chasing him down. I was like, God, this guy Lewis can run. And it was I do remember that game. Y'all beat us. I mean, we were so we lost 13 games that year, so you kind of got to be where you were surprised to be actually in a game, right? We were just getting beat. We'd always make some kind of screw up mistake, but that game actually, because we kind of hung in there, I kind of got some confidence coming out of that game that, hey, if we can just eliminate some of these big screw ups, right, we can maybe get it going. So, but yeah, I remember Harbaugh was swinging the towel and gave the game ball to Johnny Unitas. You know, I had to look at all that. That was hard. And the Ravens fans do not like the Colts, as you know. Yeah. Some guy in the stands, Ray, was yelling at me, "Hey, man, and give us our trophies back." I'm like, I was 8 years old when the Colts moved to Indianapolis. Like, why are you yelling at me? Our owner's sitting up there. Go talk to him. I don't have your trophies. I'm sorry.
Marvin Lewis came to me and Rod Woodson after that game, and he said, when my best two players have a game like that, I can't win. We threw out the tape. We did not watch the tape. But something else happened. Something else happened in 98. Me and you end up going to our Pro Bowl together. Do you remember the nights and the times that we had at that Pro Bowl? What was the old school Pro Bowls like, my man? Remember the old school days?
Yeah, the Pro Bowl, it's different now, as you know, and it's, the fact that it's before the Super Bowl, that's a lot of great players that don't get to go. I mean, as you know, the Pro Bowl, when you win the Super Bowl and you have a chance to go over there, that is the greatest week of your life, right? Because you're just you're on this emotional high, and you got all your peers that are there, kind of patting you on the back. It's a fun week. And then if you don't win, if you lose a playoff game, at least you can go over there and be with some other players that feel just as miserable as you, right? It's either way, it was a good week. But no, I had great pictures from that first Pro Bowl. I got a great picture of me, you, and Junior Seau. That was a real thrill for me. I was around the great players of the NFL, guys like you that I watched play in college and had so much respect for, and now you're kind of on the same team. And what was great about it, Ray, because I can just remember, in the years we played, there was a pay it forward during that week, right? There was, LaDainian Tomlinson spending time with an Adrian Peterson, if you will, right? Telling him how to be a pro. It's you talking like Patrick Willis, right? Hey, here's how you have to do it, right? There was great value in that. And I think now that's kind of gotten lost because unfortunately not that many people are playing in it anymore. And so it was a fun time. You and I had a lot of long conversations at that hotel bar, and some good conversations and good memories for sure.
I knew 98. I knew I had to change my game with me, you, and your wife, who was all sitting around, and you was like, he studies you so much, and I'm like, what does that mean? And I said, I got to go change up my game right now. and when I tell you, we stood at that bar. We used to meet. You used to always say, Ray, what time we coming to the bar? I'll meet you in 5.
Those were some power meetings there. Power meetings. I remember all the way there. If you skip, right? You remember the time I said, Peyton, listen, you got to come to Baltimore. You got to believe me when I tell you I need you. Hardcore recruiting. I felt like I was in high school again. And you're a hard guy to say no to. I'm like, Ray, I'd like to. I don't know. Indianapolis might not want me to go. A lot of truth serum being spoken at that hotel bar at the Pro Bowl.
And we danced all night. We danced all night long.
I tried. You were actually dancing. I was whatever I was doing. I was attempting.
Listen, bro. Let's get into our epic battles, man. Because Peyton, I'm telling you, I travel just like yourself. People send me these videos. They was like, you got to see what Peyton Manning said. And I tell people all the time, what do you think made our battles so epic?
I mean, to me, obviously, it was two great teams playing, right? And I felt like both in Indianapolis and in Denver, the Ravens were a division team, right? Because we were always playing y'all almost twice a year, right? I mean, and you wanted to win that regular season game because you wanted to host them the playoff game at home. Like, we knew if we lost early, dang, we're going to have to go to Baltimore. The Ravens were in our division and New England was in our division. And it was funny, Indianapolis, for me, to Denver, that didn't change. The Ravens were still there and the Patriots were still there. And so for me, it was so intense because you were telling your young players, guys, this is not just a regular season game. This is like the most important game of the year. Because if we win this game in October, the Ravens are going to have to come to Indianapolis in January. And that's where we want to play them, right? We don't want to have to go to Baltimore, right? And so it was just intense. And so everybody, you could feel it in the pregame, right? It just had a little different edge than just a week 6 regular season game. So you had great players, Reggie, Marvin, you, Ed, Suggs. It was competition, but I think just the mental challenge, right? And I used to come out of the locker room at those games, Ray, just mentally exhausted because it was this film study, it was the prep, it was the adjustments on the fly that y'all were making during the game. We were making, hey guys, this was the game plan. This game plan is out because they're not doing what we thought they were going to do. They're doing this. Here's what we got to put in. And it was nice to be able to do that on the fly. Some teams can't do that till after the game is over. And they say, hey, next time we play them, we're like, no, let's figure out how to do it now. And because y'all presented so many looks, the best thing about y'all, Ray, in my opinion, was that y'all could be very simple and vanilla if you wanted to, because you had the players, and y'all were sometimes. But then all of a sudden on third down, y'all can add these exotic overload, just funky, junky looks, and you combine that with great players. That was exhausting for me. I used to sleep the entire plane ride home because I was knocked out after those games.
But see, what's funny is from the opposite side, right? We knew that we could not give you the read. If we gave you the pre-snap read, come on now, you know what you're going to do in the cover 3. You know what you're going to do in the cover 1. You know what you're going to do in the 2. So we can't give you that. So that's what I think I'm telling you, going back and forth. And you said something that was so interesting, bro. Like, if you watch the game now, you don't watch that many on-field adjustments.
Right.
From a quarterback, from a defensive player, right? Saying, no, hey, check here. We got to go here because this is right. That's what I think made the battle so epic. It's because you were checking, and I would look sometimes and I'd be like, Coach, no, we can't not go in that. Trust me. He's going to see this every time. And and I say this all the time, people always say, who's the hardest quarterback you ever played against? I say it all the time. I said, man, Peyton was he's complicated. He's so freaking complicated because your best player can be your best player, but your best player going to get some work that day. He's going to get a lot of work that day. And, brother, that's why I appreciate it so much from you, man. Listen, you just wrapping up, man. You got a big honor coming up. I received the email. Appreciate that. What does that mean to you? What does that mean?
Well, it's been a great few months ever since I got the news. Now, Ray, they don't because of COVID didn't do the hotel knock, and so they kind of came out to each player's hometown to let us know. So I was at the Broncos Stadium doing like a PSA recording, and then my wife Ashley organized this. Out from behind me walked out Tony Dungy, Gary Kubiak, Philip Fulmer, David Cutcliffe, all of my coaches of like 30 years right there in front of me, Ray. And they told me that I'd been inducted, and just a powerful moment, right? That, it was a 2 minutes of a moment, but like I said, 30 years of football flashed right before me. They had a video on the Jumbotron, had a message from my high school coach. And so that was really special to find out that way. No. And Ray, it's just been a chance to reflect and go down memory lane, thinking about the players that I played against, played with. That's why I invited you. It's not just your teammates that are a part of this, right? I mean, you were a part of my football career, my football life. Tom Brady the same way. So that's why I invited you and Tom, because it was all a part of it. And so it's been fun, when you're playing, Ray, you really don't look back, right? You're always looking what's ahead. But when you stop playing and when you get a recognition like this, it is time to look back and think about the people that were a part of it, your family, the equipment managers, the PR directors, the people on each team that are doing everything they can to help you do your best. It's been a great time to say thank you, and I look forward to celebrating in August.
What would be that moment you put on that gold jacket and join this family?
It's going to be really special. My dad's going to present me, and that's going to probably get me emotional, just because he's had the greatest impact on me, and so for him to be up there on that stage with me. But yeah, I mean, to be on the same team with you again, it's like the Pro Bowl again. To rejoin Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison, Tony Dungy, guys that were awesome to play with, and to kind of be teammates again. It's the ultimate team, right? I mean, it's pretty cool, Ray, to say that they were on the same team with Johnny Unitas and Sammy Ball, right? And for you, Nitschke and Butkus, I mean,
absolutely.
Singletary, the list goes on and on. So I'm honored, I'm humbled, and to represent the Colts and the Broncos going in, I'm very, very, very appreciative of that.
Well, welcome to the family, bro. We don't have to fight or brain wrestle no more with each other. 2012, I think the greatest respect of us as friends. Something happened after probably one of the best games we both have ever been in our life. And we ended up winning that game at Mile High. What makes the man Peyton Manning come to my locker room?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I'm not sure you confirmed it at that point, but there was a lot of rumors that you were going to retire at the end of that season. And so I sort of just assumed that was going to be the case. And I said, I'm not going to miss an opportunity to go over and personally shake your hand. I had my son Marshall with me, who was just one. Yeah, I got that great picture, 1 year old in the locker room with me. There's something, Ray, about telling a player right then, as opposed to waiting, telling you 5 years later, hey, boy, that was a great game, Ray. And well, no, it's like the moment's here, and I'm disappointed, losing a playoff game. You know how much it hurts, right? It's so hard to get there, and you get beat, but there's still certain things that you need to do because it's the right thing to do. And you and I had these great battles, and so just to go over and wish you luck. Obviously, you guys took it from there, took it all the way to New Orleans, beat the 49ers in the dark down there in the Superdome, right, when the lights went out. But, that was to me, I think it's a good lesson, right, that even though you lose, there's still respect to be shown to the opponents, the referees, the other team's coach. And I was glad I came over to see you and congratulate you.
Brother, first of all, not only thank you 1,000 times, but I tell that story all the time because remember, we spent almost an hour and my planes were waiting on us. Everybody said, Ray and Peyton has to finish this conversation. And I tell people all the time, I said, man, we were talking about life. We were talking about real life and the respect that we have for each other. Brother, listen, I want you to give me 3 solutions because I'm doing a series right now on my show called Championship Mentality, right? And not just in sports, Peyton. It's in everyday life.
Sure.
What do you think 3 key things in your life gave you the mentality of a champion, but what gives you the ability to live a championship?
Yeah, I think 3 things, Ray, that can separate certain people from the rest of the pack. I think you got to have a strong work ethic. You got to work hard at it, right? I mean, everybody has ability, but you have to combine that with a great work ethic. You got to have passion for it, right? You got to love what it is you're doing, right? Nobody loved football more than you. I mean, I've seen you were just as excited in the 4th quarter of a preseason game, right, as you were in the Super Bowl, right? And that's real. You can't make that up. Passion. And I think that 4th thing, especially when it comes to team activities, businesses, whatever, is just that feeling of accountability. There are people counting on you to do your job, right? I mean, you got to do your job. And if you don't, the rest of the company or the team might not be able to execute as well. So I think that I always remember that coaches are counting on me, my teammates. I got to do my part. So I think those three things, passion, accountability, work ethic, are three things that can kind of keep you going in the right direction.
Brother, as always, you are a class act. I appreciate you. I love you. I miss you. Tell the family I said hi. But this was absolutely amazing, brother. Thanks for jumping on.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate you, pal. Thanks.
Man. Listen, checking in. Wow. Yeah, I tell you a lot of times that I have the ability to have this show. One of the things that's unique about the show is you actually get to pick the brains of some of the greatest warriors to ever play the game. Some of the people who started out at a very early age. And just understand, coming from just talking to Peyton, he started this a long time ago. His father installed it in him. But I want to kind of jump into it because this takes me into what I did in my career, but now what I'm doing after football is over. What am I committing to now? I want to jump into championship mentality. I got to get Coach on this line right now. Coach, we got so much to talk about, but I'm just telling you, you look, the championship mentality. Coach, think about this. Me and you committed to something 20 years ago. 20 years. Now listen, the message of today is, are you casual? Are you casual or are you committed? Brother, we committed to something 20 years ago. Welcome, my man. What's going on? Tell me, are we casual or are we committed? Coach, talk to me.
Hey, that's a big question, man. Big ups to Peyton Manning. Just to listening to his story, man, and his three things he talked about with championship mentality, it goes right in line with what we've been talking about, man. And when you're talking about being casual or committed, we were committed for 15, 20 years, even to this day. But a lot of times we do things casually and we think that we're committed. And it's not necessarily true, man. To me, what is being committed? And to me, committed is just like what you did, what Peyton Manning did, what all the greats do. They throw their whole self at something. And take a stand.
And that's why I truly believe what we're talking about is, what's the investment and what's the return on the investment? Like, what's your commitment? Like, are you really committed? I told you this earlier on the phone. I said, Coach, just to listen to what I'm saying. Maybe there will maybe another time ever in our life where we ever commit the way we committed the last 20 years. 20 years we bought into something. 20 years we changed our language. 20 years we changed our crowd. 20 years we changed the way we worked. 20 years we changed the way we eat. 20 years. Because
that came with a commitment, man.
Commitment.
It came with a commitment. And a lot of times, whether it's, our team out there, you working on your vision, you working on your plan, you got a plan now, you know about executing and applying some of these principles. But, when you committed, man, you owe that to yourself. You owe yourself that, to throw everything at it, whatever it is that you're doing, becoming committed to your life, becoming committed to your family, becoming committed to your relationships, becoming committed to your school. I went to school and got a degree, but what happened if I really would have given 100%? You know what I mean? I mean, I got the degree, that's good, but I didn't really give 100%. I had one foot in, one foot out. Go when you feel like going, don't go when you feel like we're going. And so this commitment thing, it's a decision. It's not a feeling. And so when you decide this thing, that you're going all in, you're going to throw your whole self at it 100%, make sure that you're passionate about it and make sure it's connected to your purpose.
Because that's why you got to have passion for it. To commit to anything, you got to be pouring out of your pores, just passion, man, to love life, to love the opportunity, right? One of the things, a couple of these points that we got, right? A couple of these things, I want you to think about this. Without commitment, you can't have depth of anything. Think about that, bro. If you don't, without that commitment, think about that. You can't go deeper in it. You can't love it. You can't fall in love with it. You can't not live without it. That's what the process is. When we're talking about this weekly, what the challenge is, what we want to introduce weekly is you have to buy into every principle that we're speaking. But it's you spending time with it. Mama can't do it, daddy can't do it, your friends can't do it, nobody else can do it. And that's why me and coach on this other line, we committed to something. I asked Peyton Manning something earlier, just listening to him, right? Because I asked him, what other position would you have played? He didn't have a plan B, T. Never had a plan B. That's why, listen to this. You got to stay committed to your decision, but flexible with your approach. Because it's when you're committed to your decision, right? When things don't go right, you're flexible to bend. That's the routes I'm talking about. You got to find different routes to plan A. A lot of people give up on their visions. A lot of us doubt ourselves. The one thing that will destroy anything that you want to do is fear. Fear of what? Most of the times it's fear of failure. But when you commit to something, you're okay with failing. Because every time you get back up, you learn a valuable lesson. I told somebody this the other day, I learned more in my life from my failures than my successes. Because what?
It's so true, right? It's like you have to stick with something long enough. Stick with something long enough until you become the best at it.
Yeah.
And again, once again, that passion and that purpose is key, because you was a wrestler. You had a passion for wrestling, but thank God you wasn't a wrestler. Peyton Manning had a passion for baseball, but the gift didn't change. The throwing, the accuracy. For you, the hustle, the hard work, the ability to put somebody down. And so as we go out there and you connect your passion to where you're going in this championship mentality, there will be days that you don't feel like doing it.
Many days.
And what we're saying is, because you're passionate about it, you can keep going. Because now you know that it's not a feeling, it's a decision. And so throw yourself at it, man. The worst thing you could do is have regret. And each one of us every day are getting older, every day. And so while you're young, while you're at this point in your life and you have energy, think about something, man, that you can live your life for and give it all to. When I look back on our training, I may not ever be able to do that again, man. Working out 3 or 4 times a day.
Oh, we can't do it again. Do you know what we done? We can't do that again.
I'm glad we took that one shot at it, man, and we threw everything.
And 20 years later, we're still on that same path. That's why with challenges, the committed heart looks for a solution. The committed heart looks for a solution. The undecided heart looks for an escape. See, and that's why people start so many things and never finish them, because they're not committed in their heart. I'm telling you something today, that you got to go and you got to commit to something in your heart. I want to look, because social media we're around, but I want you to think about how many of us are committed to social media, but your investment comes back zero. Right? It's like how many are connected to television, but your investment comes back zero. What you commit to will open up every door that you don't even know is going to open. That's why the undecided heart always looks for escapes, excuses, and most of the time they're fears. Brother?
So many of us have potential. We could be great at this. We could be good at this. We could be great at that. And all of those could be's are locked behind commitment. So anything that we aspire to be, anything that we want to be great at, could be, I got the potential. It's all locked up in commitment. And it's hard. There's some people that have never been committed in a relationship. Yeah. There's some people that have never been committed on their job. They just there for the paycheck. They're not there for the committed side of it. And so what the day's challenge is, and what we went through, is to take that one thing, man, that you going after and throw your whole self at it. Give 100%. And if it don't work out, you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I gave it all I got. But I'm going to give you one tip to save you some stress. all of us have been in a relationship before, and you wanted that person to be committed to you. Imagine how you felt when you were committed to that person and they may not have been committed to you. That's a bad feeling.
It's a bad feeling.
So when you go out with your purpose and your vision and you committed to it, make sure it's connected to your purpose. That way you're just not wrestling instead of playing football. That way you're not doing baseball instead of playing football. That way I'm not just working at the bank and I'm a great manager, but not a great trainer. And so on our way to this journey, man, we don't have no time to waste. Make sure your passion is connected to your purpose. And that's what's going to help you with the commitment. My tip, I used pain. And it drove me into the commitment of me trying to work on myself. I became self-committed.
Yes.
Remember, whatever you tolerate, you won't change. And so if you tolerating something, you cool with this, and you know, I kind of go when I feel like it can. If you tolerate it, you won't change it.
Preach. You won't change.
Yeah, and so anger brings change. I got tired of it.
I got tired, T.
And that drove me into that commitment.
The things that I had seen, I figured out a long time ago. And I tell people this, I'm telling you this, unless commitment is made, there are only promises and hopes, but no plans. Nothing. That's why people go through these New Year's resolutions and they make all of these promises and all of these things and all these hopes, but ain't nobody got a plan on how to get there because you don't commit to it. Principle way many weeks back was write the vision and make it plain. When you want to commit to something, make sure it's in your hand right. And when you don't complete it, you can only blame you. I'm telling you, Coach, this week, it's truly about asking yourself, what are you committed to? And what are you pretending you're committed to? What are you casually holding on to? Oh, I think I'm all the way in. I think I'm halfway in. What is your investment? Any investor always asks one question. What's my return on my investment? That's what they ask. So think about the things that you're giving your energy to and all of the things that you're paying attention to and this news and that news and this, and it comes back zero investor. It's going to be hard for you to convince somebody to invest in your dream, promise, hope, whatever it may be. It's going to be hard. Coach, it don't get no better, man. I love you to death, brother. And I'm telling you, a show, take the show out of it. The bottom line is, brother, we talk every day. And we have talked, I promise you, almost every day for the last 20 years. But I want to tell you, as a brother, Peyton said something about loyalty. As a brother, man to man, let me tell you something, brother. I appreciate you because we stuck to it. And we know how hard it was. And it hurt. And it hurt. And a lot of times when we was committed to things, we was pulled in ways and we was pulled in places and pulled around people that we know we didn't fit in. But we kept fighting the good fight, brother. And I'm gonna
man, I appreciate everything as well, man. And for our team that's out there, man, you just can't be willing to receive something that you're not giving your all to. Yeah. And you got to be committed to something better that's bigger than yourself. When I was committed, Ray, when I was like, some days I was like, man, I think I'm just going to go back to the bank. You know what? I got a degree. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and get another job, man. This 12 miles a day on this sand. Come on, man. What am I doing? I'm not going to the league. But that was a feeling after that workout. But the decision was you committed to this and it's bigger than you. People always ask me, man, what's mind, body, and spirit? I thought MBS, I thought that was your name. No, it ain't my name. It's bigger than me. When we committed to this, we committed to the training, but we committed to this lifestyle.
Yes, sir.
It's not a lifestyle of being perfect.
No.
It's a lifestyle of committing to say, you know what? Let me take care of my mental health for the day. You know what? Let me take care of my body for the day. Yeah. You know what? Let me watch what I'm eating. You know what? Let me do what I say I'm going to do. You know what? I wrote this plan, but let me apply action to it.
Yeah.
And man, these principles that we share every week, man, they were life-changing for us. And it is my prayer that it is life-changing for someone out there, man, as well. So commit to it, man. Don't live your whole life in die and look back and say, you know what? What if I would have gave my all with that? You know what? I'm praying, but what if I would have gave my all with that? What if I would have gave my all with this or that? Wow. Don't live with that regret, man. Throw yourself at it, man. And that may be the one thing that you need to make yourself great. All people that have been successful and people that make a difference are people that have committed to something.
Absolutely.
And let that be us, and let that be our team that's joining us with this, man. See y'all next week.
Coach, be good, brother. I appreciate you. I'll hit you a little later. Rounding up, you know, I tell you this, right? If you think about, if you ever heard the story on how they used to trap monkeys, you know, because commitment will steer your direction. And a lot of times monkeys had a direction on how to get to the food, and they knew how to get to the food. And when the monkey stuck his hand in the bar, the one thing they knew about the monkey is the monkey wasn't gonna let go of what he was holding on to get back through the bar. So what I'm telling you is the monkey was committed to pulling everything out of that bar, and then realize if he let his hand and let everything go, he could have had everything he wanted, even his life. Sometimes commitment means giving up and letting go everything that keeps holding you back. The same formulas on how they used to trap monkeys is the same formula sometimes as people. We get caught up in all the things that we can hold and all the things that we can have in our possession and all the things, but we have not committed to nothing, to letting go nothing to find pure joy and freedom. I'm gonna leave you with these takeaways for the week. Loyalty is better than friendship because loyalty dictates the brotherhood. Passion, you got to ask yourself, how committed are you? This week, I want you to really take some time out this week. And I want you to ask yourself, what have you committed to? And if you have not committed to changing your life, redirecting your life, or making your life better, let's figure out how. Let's figure out how we do that. And when you come back next week, have a different perspective of why you take the principle and how you have to sleep with it. You got to meditate on it. And when you start to meditate on it, something starts to happen. It starts to become a lifestyle. And when it becomes a lifestyle, anything that's called a lifestyle has some sort of commitment to it. Let go of the things that's holding you back and grab hold to your future. It's in your hands. God bless you. Thank you for joining the Ray Lewis Show. Absolutely no excuses in life not to be better in life. But it's time to figure out the difference of being casual and committed. God bless you. Have an amazing week.